ClearlySo is a London-based company that connects investors to social entrepreneurs. Its ultimate goal is to provide financial returns while helping to solve social or environmental issues. The growth of the sector, impact investing, is such that ClearlySo has recently been able to snatch Société Générale's Matthew Vickerstaff as its head of investment banking. I have Matthew now in our studio. Welcome.
Thank you.
So what made you decide to change drastically?
Well, it's interesting, as you describe ClearlySo's activities, when I think back to my time in banking and investment banking, the first decision was about what the returns were in a transaction. That's not the case at ClearlySo. The first thing we analyse and think about is the social or environmental impact. That is a kind of pass or fail test for us in terms of whether we want to work with entrepreneurs and companies. Only then do we move on to the financial aspects and the overall returns, and we need to be sure that the two are going to be totally aligned. So it's a more three-dimensional analysis. We look at risk and return, but we also look at the impact in terms of the overall social or environmental aspects.
So it is certainly an inspiring activity, being able to finance such deserving ventures. But the beauty of the sector, it is also that it is providing good, in some cases excellent financial returns, which also explain why it is growing at such rates.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no problem getting up in the morning to work with exciting entrepreneurs and companies who essentially want to change the world. They are totally committed to what they're doing and the impact of what they're doing.
So ClearlySo, I believe, has raised over £100 million for its clients.
That's right.
And what kind of products will you be looking at? Because at Société Générale, you were in charge of the global structuring teams that were looking at anything from financing infrastructure to financing aircrafts, shipping, so dealing with big, massive clients. This is a big change.
It is a huge change, that's right. I mean, the products we actually look at ClearlySo are quite similar. I mean, we look more on the equity placement side, or quasi-equity, where we deal with perhaps companies which aren't profit-making, they're charities or charitable entities, or we look at debt as well, and we look in unsecured, secured, also fixed income, so social impact bonds, charity bonds, and straightforward bonds as well, whether it's fixed or floating. So in many ways they're similar products, but it's incredibly different at the same time. Some of the interesting things we have looked at, for example, on the equity side, the return is either linked to the impact that's actually monitored and actually is performed. So what we have is an investor base who are willing to accept a lowering of the overall return on their instrument if certain KPIs, performance indicators, are met on the social side. Very much like social impact bonds, in terms of the overall improvement of a service that's being taken by a private sector party, then that is what funds payments from the government for meeting KPIs, funds the coupons on the bond.
And some of the early social impact bonds have reached the level now where they are in fact delivering returns to investors. So we have some sort of basis to grow on. So these projects and bonds have been proved successful in the past.
Yes, absolutely. They have been proven.
How much do you expect this market, social impact bonds or any other products in particular, to grow in the future?
Well, I think partly it's down to how governments undertake the welfare state. And we can see that, for example, in the UK, they're pulling back from provision of the welfare state. And partly that's about wanting individuals to define more what they actually want to receive, rather than just taking welfare and social services. And partly it's because, obviously, from a budgetary perspective, the government wants to cut the overall spend. And that's what social impact bonds can do. They can create efficiencies at the same time, which the performance measures that they're based on actually deliver.
What about the environmental side of things?
The environmental side, frankly, is extremely interesting and exciting. There is a lot of technological change and improvement, which is certainly I was used to working on renewable transactions, both on the solar and wind side, and some on the bio side as well. But I've seen such a huge impact of technology measuring either energy outputs or energy consumption, balancing markets, which creates a huge amount of more efficiency in the consumption of energy.
So lots of opportunities for growth and expansion of this field.
Lots of opportunities, also a lot of technological change and to a certain extent risk, but the impacts could have very wide and varied ramifications for our overall and daily usage.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining me and best of luck for the future. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.